In this retro review we look at a matching pair of models. It's a Superior TeleStacker with a matching tractor. And here is the box for the tractor in Superior Industries branding, and it's a Peterbilt 357. On the back of the box some of the equipment made by Superior Industries is listed, and if we look underneath we see this as a sword model number 1050. But the Peterbilt is really a sideshow to the main event, which is the TeleStacker 150 conveyor. The box has the TWH Collectibles logo, and on the top there's a diagram which shows the dimensions of the real machine, and there's a few photos of this and that. Let's go underneath and we see there's more logos, and firstly there's the DHS Diecast logo, there's a Towsley's logo, a Superior Industries logo, there's a TWH logo, and the box says this is piece number 816 out of 2000.
Let's weigh it up.
We start with the Peterbilt and it comes in just under 14 ounces, which is just under 400 grams. The TeleStacker is altogether bigger at £3 6 ounces, and that's just over 1.5 kilograms. Right, let's do some box opening, and we start with the Peterbilt. And it's the usual thing of a couple of trays. And the model is protected by clear film, and there's a bag of some parts. The TeleStacker box is a much bigger affair, but the packaging style is the same with a couple of large trays. There is a small booklet included, and we'll have a look at that in a moment. But if we get on and lift the lid, we can see that inside is the big TeleStacker model. And there are also a few small parts to go with it. The included booklet is not about the model at all, it just describes the real machines. And it's a nice enough little marketing brochure. For the assembly we'll put the models in transport mode. And with the Peterbilt you have an option of different types of air horn that you can fit. And you need to attach the metal mirrors to each side of the model. In transport mode, the separate support turntable clips onto the side, and once that's done we then add on the towing bar. That slots in and can be pinned in one of two positions. It looks odd that the drawbar hole is sideways on, but that is correct. And we then unpin the support legs and lift them up. And then we can connect the TeleStacker to the tractor. And the clever bit is that the fifth wheel connects into that drawbar hole. And it works very well.
Let's weigh it up again.
The Peterbilt comes in at just over 10 ounces, which is nearly 300 grams. With the TeleStacker being £2 7 ounces nearly, what is nearly 1.1 kilograms? We start with the Peterbilt in lying down mode, and it is a detailed model. Looking underneath you can see the engine and the gearbox, and various tanks are modelled. The drive shaft runs to the rear two axles, which have decent detailing. The tyres are different front and rear. On top of the cab there is plenty of detailed chrome work, and a highlight of the model is the front grille. It is in metal and is very nicely perforated, and there's plenty of other chrome work too. There's a small Peterbilt badge on the side of the hood, and Superior Industries is on the cab door. And one thing to note is that there's no glass in the cab door window. There are very nice textured steps leading up into the cab, and the wheels are detailed too. Soft mud flaps are always a nice touch. At the back there's a very highly detailed headache rack, complete with chains and various other items. There's also a set of coloured coiled lines. The exhaust stack is also attractively modelled. Looking at the back, there's some fine modelling of the chassis, including tiny graphics. And the chrome wheels look particularly good. There's a dummy sword license plate and nice soft mud flaps. Moving to the TeleStacker, and one nice touch is that the limited edition numbering is printed on it. And a feature of the model is the very high metal content. There are some very nice touches like this pin holder, and the entire model has a very high quality feel. The belts are flexible and there are really nice mesh grills. Another very nice aspect are the numerous tiny graphics, and these add to the authenticity. The hydraulic support legs have hoses running to them, and the hoses are another standout detail of the model, and they are nice and flexible. There is an excellent control panel, and again you can see the high quality detailed graphics. There's a ton more detail around the axles, and again there are hoses everywhere, and there are decent quality wheels. The metal support structures are modelled very well, and there's also flexible mud flaps. The modelling of the whole structure is to a very high standard, and all the rollers for the belts are also modelled. The rubber belts are high quality. Moving on, and there are nicely modelled nameplates, and a standout detail are the drive motors for the belts, including the perforated chain drive cover. There's another belt drive at the end of the TeleStacker, and there's also a clip-on sensor for monitoring what comes over the belt. Again, we start with the Peterbilt, and it has notched steering at the front. The wheels all spin freely, and out on the cranes etc. freeway, the Peterbilt rolls along well enough. With the steering set, it does interfere with the hood a little bit, but it's fine for posing the model. The hood does open up fully, and it's nice to see a very detailed engine and that see-through radiator grille. Closing the hood up is easy, as you would expect, and we move on to the opening cab doors. Because there's no glass in the door, you can stick your finger through to open it. The angle is decent and there's plenty of detail inside. Moving to the back, there is some longitudinal movement of the fifth wheel, and it has a proper spring-loaded latch. Moving on to the TeleStacker, and here it is fully extended. And the first thing to test is one of the belts. It is of very flexible rubber and it rolls really nicely. And that's helped in part because all of the rollers are individually rolling parts. The conveyor structure is telescopic, and here it is being retracted in. Again, the model engineering is really good because it is very smooth. That brings us on to the lower belt, and it's just as good as the upper belt. In use, the conveyor is mounted on a turntable, and it would normally be fixed into the ground. The axle arrangement allows the whole machine to move from side to side. When you're done working, you can remove pins from the hydraulic rams, and then fold up the axles which allow the sideways rotation. Once the transverse axles are raised, you can remove a pin and lower the whole of the structure, and the TeleStacker neatly flattens down to make a transport load. And again, the model engineering is very good, so it's all nice and smooth. To get it ready for the road, the sensor is taken off the end. The turntable gets mounted on the side as we've seen before, and the tow bar gets added.
Time for a dim check.
This is a big model, so let's measure it fully extended, and it's about 37 inches or 94 centimetres. And in terms of height, it's just about 1 foot or 30 centimetres. And if we go into transport mode, it's about 27 inches or 69 centimetres. This model was first released in 2005, and looking at it now 19 years later, it is a high quality, really good model. Some of the detailing is outstanding, and that is combined with a really high level of model engineering. This is a relatively unusual subject for a model, but it won't disappoint anyone who owns one, and it's no surprise at all that it was rated as excellent.